direct and practice breath control. And Srila Prabhupada is saying that we can also hear some instructions directly from Sri Krishna in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita around how to practice this Ashtanga Yoga. And perhaps just to make recapitulation of the verses that we heard, instructions from the beginning. So Kapila Dev is instructing his mother Devahuti, and he's saying at the beginning of this chapter that he will explain the process of yoga, which is, he's saying this is authorized process of yoga. And the object of which is to concentrate the mind. So this is the first effect that the practice of yoga should have upon us, to be able to concentrate with our mind. And further he is stating, by practicing this system, one can become joyful and progressively advance towards the path of the absolute truth. So if we are morose, then perhaps we should ask ourselves what we are doing wrong. Because it should be prasanam, joyful, and Krishna is also stating in Bhagavad Gita that this process is susukam kartayam, that it is joyfully performed. Joyful process, we can attain satpatam. We can be on the path of the absolute truth. And we understand that the supreme truth is Sri Krishna. And then he's saying that one should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his ability and avoid performing duties not allotted to him. One should be satisfied with as much gain as he achieves by the grace of the Lord, and one should worship the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Then one should cease performing conventional religious practices, so like gramya dharma. This means like what you have inherited from your home, basically. And one should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. So if your inherited practices lead to salvation, then you should not give it up. You should continue. But if it is not leading to salvation, then you should give it up. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. In text number 4, one should practice non-violence and truthfulness, should avoid thieving, and be satisfied with possessing as much as he needs for his maintenance. He should abstain from sex life, perform austerity, be clean, study the Vedas, and worship the supreme form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must observe silence, acquire steadiness by practicing different yogic postures, control the breathing of the vital air, withdraw the senses from sense objects, and thus concentrate the mind on the heart. So why on the heart? Because there we find the super soul, and this process of Ashtanga Yoga means connecting the Atma with Paramatma, connecting the soul with the super soul. And then it becomes very technical. Here Kapila Dev is saying, fixing the vital air. So what is the vital air in Sanskrit? Prana, yes. So fixing your prana, your vital air, your life energy, and the mind in one of the 6 circles of vital air circulation within the body. So what are the 6 circles of vital air circulation within the body? These are chakras. These are called chakras, basically. Thus, concentrating one's mind on the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called samadhi or samadhana of the mind. So then the mind can enter samadhi, this state of transcendence. By these processes, or any other true process, one must control the contaminated, unbridled mind, which is always attracted by material enjoyment, and thus fix himself in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so we are coming then to today's verse. After controlling one's mind and sitting postures, one should spread a seat in a secluded and sanctified place. Sit there in an easy posture, keeping the body erect, and practice breath control. So after asana, basically the Ashtanga Yoga process is yama niyama, where you try to control the mind and your urges, bodily urges, the urges of the mind. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, as Rupa Goswami is instructing in the Upadeshamrita, in the Nectar of Instruction, how one should practice Bhakti Yoga. Very similarly here, the basic prerequisition is there. Then you can meditate. So we should make our surrounding, our body, our mind, our surroundings suitable for meditation. And after this yama niyama asana, sitting postures, which should be easy to keep, as Krishna is saying, asana should be firm, should be actually feeling easy, that you can easily sit in asana. And then you can practice pranayama. Then you can practice breath control. And some of these things are explained for Vaishnavas in Hari Bhakti Vilasa, in this compendium, this lexica, which is containing so many references from 200 different scriptures. But the main thing is, as we'll hear also, is how actually, as Kapila Dev already stated in the text number 7, to fix ourselves in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Somehow by hook or crook, by any process, we should somehow fix our mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is for us Sri Krishna. Or better to say Sri Radha Krishna, because we should not worship Bhagavan alone without his energies. He's always surrounded by many different energies, and his supreme energy is Sri Radha, Hladini Shakti. So, and how to do this? So here is the mechanical process is being explained, this Ashtanga Yoga process, which is a process for different age. But some, as we can see, some things, some elements are still there, also for Vaishnavas to practice, especially for those who are second initiated. And but basically, the more easier process is to have some emotion, some feeling. And the stronger your feeling is, the stronger there will be connection with the Lord. And so it is said that this very strong feeling for the Lord is called rasa. And by practicing this Ashtanga Yoga process, we can attain Shanta Rasa, or the neutral relationship with the Lord. And this is actually not what Sri Chaitanya Deva came to teach. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he came to teach the 4 higher rasas, which are starting with dasya, with servitorship, with serving the Lord. In Shanta Rasa, we have some neutral relationship. We are also kind of indirectly serving the Lord, but not really directly in a human form. So Shanta Rasa is many munis, many rishis attain this Shanta Rasa neutral position, but like animals in the spiritual world would be in this Shanta Rasa, like parrots, like cows, like some other animals, peacocks, trees, Yes, trees, plants, they are all serving the Lord in Shanta Rasa. So they have some indirect exchange, but not exchange like we are used in a human form. So that's why for the Vaishnavas, the interesting are those 4 other rasas, culminating in Madhurya Rasa, which contains all other rasas, the servitorship and the friendship, the Lord, and some motherly affection, some care for the Lord, and also some loving affection, as a lover. So, do you have any questions so far?
What about like everything in the spiritual world is alive? What about rocks and so on?
Yes, they also have, of course, they are conscious. Everything is made of chit Shakti, of consciousness. So the rocks are also serving in Shantarasa. Yes, everything is serving. And everything is their manifestation actually of Nityananda Balaram, they said. This is Nityananda, this is manifestation of Nityananda Balaram. He is providing the place where the lila, where the pastime can take place. So whatever we can perceive here or there in the spiritual world, this is all Nitai and or Balaram. So you want to become a rock? Be great, much greater than being in this conditioned human body, for sure, because then you are fully conscious of yourself, of what is going on. And it is said that all the, according to your sadhana, what you practice, our acharyas are saying, you will achieve that goal. So I don't know what is sadhana to become a rock in the Vrindavan. We have to inquire. But we have the sadhana for attaining other rasas is very clearly described by our Gaudiya Mahajans, by our acharyas, especially 6 Goswamis. And then we can study this to attain the highest goal. Jai Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsimhadev Bhagavan Ki Jai. But of course we are interested in that what pleases Lord the most. So we have to inquire what pleases Sri Krishna the most, or what pleases Sri Radha the most. So if they say, well, I would be pleased if you become my rock somewhere that I can sit upon, then yes, why not? But mostly we say that something else, they have something else in mind for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, for the followers of Mahaprabhu. And this is this Unatujvala rasa, very excellent, very special rasa, very special connection. And by following the footsteps of the eternal associates of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, we can then slowly understand what this excellence in rasa is. But whatever we achieve, we will be happy with that. There is no loss. There can be only gain. But why not to go for the highest gain? If we can earn $1 million, then we should not be, like it is said in eating and in love making, you should not be modest. And there is something else, I think, in earning money, something like this. In earning money, in eating and in love making, you should not be modest. You should go for all what is there to be achieved. So like this, also in our sadhana, we should aspire for the highest achievement, because then with this we can serve the best. That's the aim. No, not that we want something but what will be the most pleasing to their lordships. So we should be interested in that, and this is clearly being shown by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his. He came to teach this Unatojvala rasa himself, and show by the example how this can be achieved, how this can be practiced, how this can be lived finally. Any other questions? Yes.
So you are speaking about practicing a specific sadhana to achieve, to understand our Svarup in the spiritual world. Then we also see in Gaura Lila, unfortunately I just forgot the name, but there are specific personalities that have a different relationship with the Lord, and even though I just forgot his name, but who was Hanuman in the Gaura Lila.
Murari Gupta.
Murari Gupta, exactly, yeah. So, and he couldn't otherwise, although he could just think of Lord Ram and chant the name of Lord Ram. So it seems like there's also this aspect that we have the relationship is awakened, and then we have this, what you are sharing, that we, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, that it can change. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on this.
So this is a very interesting example also. So it is quite complex, like Gaura Lila can become quite complex. Because, you see, when the Lord appears here on the earth, then He's not just coming with His eternal associates, but so many other things are mixing in. So many other purposes are there. And then it can become quite confusing. So these eternal associates, it is said that somehow beside them, in that form that they show here on the earth, there are also some other forms that are mixed with their eternal forms. So actually we understand that Murari Gupta is eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, but when this associate is appearing here on the earth, somehow some aspect of Hanuman is also mixing in. But if you read, he wrote the first biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if I am not wrong. Somebody knows what is the name of this? Yeah, Chaitanya Charita. And if you read this Chaitanya Charita, then you actually understand that his Ishtadev is actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Ramachandra is also there. Somebody can also see Ramachandra in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Some sannyasis saw Narayana in him. And some, like Ramananda Roy saw Radha Krishna in him. So there are so many possibilities. And so this is not easy to understand. We need somebody who can lead us in this whole, understanding of Bhoma Lila, and then of many different aspects what Mahaprabhu came and what he showed. Because there are there are so many aspects of Krishna, so many different dimensions, so many different prakash. Prakash means spiritual dimension where a certain lila is going on. And Jiva Goswami explained in his Krishna Sandarbha that there are many, millions and millions of prakashas, different dimensions where different lilas are going on simultaneously. And for each one you need a Svarup. And you can serve in as many prakashas you want, actually. There is no limit. It becomes confusing for us, conditioned souls. How can this be? But it's like really changing the TV channels. Like these days, like when I was young, it was quite easy. There were perhaps 2 channels, maximum 3. When the third came, we were like, wow, third channel, on TV. But these days, there are 300s, so you become quite lost. What should I choose? You spend a whole day to find some channel, that you like. So it's like this. All these channels are there, and you just can switch from one to another. But there are these 4 statements of the father of Kavi Karnapura, I think his name was Chakravarti, something. And Srila Prabhupada is quoting this quite often, where there are these 4 postulates of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, which were quite early given by this devotee. And he's saying that our goal is Sri Krishna in Vrindavan, and the process to attain this goal is by following in the footsteps of the gopis. And the evidence is there in Srimad Bhagavatam for this. And there is also something else. And yes, and like the highest achievement is prema, prema for Radha Krishna. That's the Purusha Artha, Prem Purusha Artha. So this is the highest goal that human can achieve is prema for Radha Krishna in Goloka, Vrindavan. So it's quite clear, it is not that it is obscure and we should be, and he is saying that we should not be deluded by any other opinion. You should not be swayed by so many other things, and be confused. You should not be confused by these other. There are always some other things there, for everybody and anybody, but we should be quite clear what is the goal of our sampradaya and what is our path, what is the sadhana. And when we are speaking about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he is very precise, he is very clear. If you read the last chapter of Jaiva Dharma, and he is saying that the devotee who understood things as they are and who is very determined to achieve the goal, he should not even read any other lila beside the rasa lila. He should not hear about these Naimitika lilas. I mean, he can hear, but there is no purpose, because then you will be again, swayed away by some other meditation. So meditation should be very clear, very focused, very down to the point. We should not, do so many things and be, like dancing at all the weddings. How I'd say, like. Yeah. But there's this saying in English, I can't now remember, like, trying so many things and then not mastering any of these. So if you want to master, the sadhana, the Gaudiya Vaishnava sadhana, it should be very clear. You should not be beat around the bush. You should come to the point and then be fixed in that. But of course, at the beginning, we are hearing, all about Krishna. We want to know all about Krishna, also his earthly pastimes and Dvaraka pastimes and Mathura pastimes. We are reading Krishna book and we are amazed and wow, amazing stories, and we are very much attracted. So then, then at a certain point we should decide, which aspect of Krishna, which prakash, which lila should we actually follow and focus upon. That's what I think I understood from our acharyas. Is this okay for you? Any other question?
You prefer that I ask at the end, or we can continue now?
No, I opened the question and answer session.
So, I always wonder, probably a rock in the spiritual world is more self-realized than me, and namely more intelligent. So, our mind, material mind, dualistic mentality, that there's something better than the other, which is to some extent true, because the intensity of, rasa between the gopis or the parents of Krishna is more intense than with a rock with Krishna. So if I'm here now trying to make a decision, a proud decision, then I would aspire for something higher than being a rock. So I wonder, are not the rocks aspiring for something more, for the higher intensity of reciprocation? And if I may add one thing also I was reading when Uddhava went to the gopis, and then at the end he's like aspiring to take birth also as a rock or something that a blade of grass that would take the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. So, but I wonder, like when we read such verses in the Bhagavatam, this is a nitya lila, but at the same time there is this saying which indicates it's in the material world. So what's the deal?
Very good question. Yes, so again, we should not be confused when the eternal associates show their humility. We should understand that Uddhava is not a sadhaka, he is not a practitioner, he is a siddha, he is perfectly spiritual being, best friend of Krishna in Mathura, outside of Vrindavan. But by stating this, he is just showing his humility and how humility is important. And finally, the biggest humility means that there is no consideration on my part, what I want, again, but what the Lord wants. And we should ask Him, what is your plan for me? What do you have in store for me? And then again, the Lord, if we study the Adi Lila, of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, and if we study Madhya Lila, chapter 8, then it becomes very clear. The Lord is clarifying all these things. But because we are conditioned, then sometimes because of our conditioning, then we think that we should not aspire for highest, because then through meditation or Rasa Lila, some impurities may appear in us, which are there. So there are many devotees are having this feeling that I should not even look at that, I should not come even in contact, with explanations of such, because this will arouse some lusty feelings in me. But again, if we study the Acharyas, and even Srila Prabhupada, hearing about Rasa Lila is very purifying. Actually, the effect of properly hearing from the proper source. So both the speaker and candidate should be somewhat qualified. So if we submissively hear about Rasa Lila, then the effect should be that we will be completely purified from material lust. Ananda Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I think also that the Rasa Lila in the Bhagavatam is not in that sense problematic. It's a quite innocent Lila, actually. But if we go into more detailed descriptions of Acharyas, that could be a bit more problematic, definitely. And there I can see that devotees should not read that in the beginning, definitely. And even after some time, I think it needs some serious purification to see the spiritual substance in that, and that it is spiritual. It's difficult. So I can see the warning of Prabhupada clearly in that, because then you are making offenses, and what was the meditation? But so that's the one thing. And the other thing about when you said kind of choosing, it's not choosing, but also to decide which is your prakash and all that. As far as I understand, also Prabhupada was a bit hesitant on that we go a bit more on a sure path and not go too quickly into these specifics, actually. And so he, as you also said in the beginning, we should hear everything, because everything is purifying. So if there is a certain purification necessary to awaken either our kind of a spiritual intelligence where we can choose properly, or where there's a certain revelation where then the decision is proper, it needs some advancement. And as far as I remember in Ragavartma Chandrika, as you also said before, that Bhaktivinoda Thakur said we should not hear anything besides than about Radha Krishna. And also in Ragavartma Chandrika, quite heavily, Vishwanath says that we should not hear about Dwarka queens, especially Dwarka queens, which is the closest kind of to the gopis. So what to speak then about anything else? But as far as I understand, this is for a devotee who is already fixed in his meditation. And this we cannot imitate either, because we will make offenses. Oh, this is low class. Oh, this is lower. We make offenses against Gopas, Mother Yashoda, because we are neophytes and we'll make offenses. So until we cannot have deep, humble, real loving appreciation for all aspects of Krishna's Leela, we should be very careful to be, because we are so conditioned, to be specific. And the other interesting thing is, as far as I understand, again in Raghavartma Chandrika, he says that there are 3 ways how to become specific. 3 actual revelations. Either through Guru, through Sadhu, or through Krishna. And then if I come to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, speaks about this Antar Panta and Bahya Panta. Isn't it that this is actually more our path, the path of Raghunath Das, that the holy name, the sadhana, reveals the specifics, which are then sure, and there's then no doubt anymore, and then we can surely advance. And isn't that kind of what Prabhupada warned, to become steady, and then there will comes a revelation, then everything is good, and then there's no question of offenses anymore. Isn't that what we should explain to devotees?
Very good, yeah. Well, what I can say, one thing, as Srila Prabhupada wrote his books for the wide audience, not really only specifically for sadhakas, for those who are very seriously practicing bhakti yoga. And the second thing, I think that what is mostly needed is the proper guidance. So if you can find somebody who can properly guide you, then you can very quickly make advancement and come to the stage of spontaneous devotional service or actual spiritual practice, which is needed to attain Sri Krishna in Vrindavan. And it is clearly said that on outside, we should practice all the Vidas, like at least these 64 different ways how to worship Sri Krishna, which are described in Nectar of Devotion. But inside, we should meditate on Leela while chanting the holy name. So this is my understanding, that just chanting, this is not strong enough. And this can be quite mechanical if you don't, because it should be meditation. So we can meditate, of course, on many different things, so many outside things, and just be still in outside consciousness. But to attain Vrindavan consciousness, we need to combine, and this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is clearly stating at the end of Harinam Chintamani in the 15th chapter, that we should clearly do Nam Japa combined with the Lila Smaranam. But we should do this under the expert guidance of an expert sadhaka, who knows, who already went ahead of us, and who I think this is what we are missing. And that's why we are having so many different thoughts, because we cannot see in front of us that somebody is really practicing like this. And then we are confused. And like this, we can, spend so much time on Dvaraka Lila. You can spend lives and lifetimes, just pondering upon Dvaraka Lila or Mathura Lila. There's so many aspects, so many things, which are there. But like we are going, into the restaurant, and there is this, like buffet. What will you choose? So, there must be something, that will prompt you to choose this dish. Either some health concerns, or your taste, or whatever. And the taste is, most quickly rising through the proper association. So we need really good association, and I think this is what we are lacking, especially somehow at present time and days. That somehow, there are so many things explained in the Bhagavatam, but it's culminating in the 10th chapter. There are so many things our acharyas said, but the thing is that they are all manjaris, and like this. And finally, when this is what I can say to this topic. I don't have anything more specific to say.
I want to say, the first thing is that Prabhupada's books are for the general public. Yeah, definitely. Prabhupada's books are actually for the general public, but I can see that with the advancement, you can see, according to your level, the information also in Prabhupada's books.
Definitely.
So it's not that
Definitely.
they aren't just for, they're for everyone. And
There are
according-
gems. There are so many gems in
exactly.
Prabhupada's
There's
books.
everything inside. So
Yeah.
it's just depends on my vision to
Yes.
see. And the beginner, he will not see the esoteric and advanced things. And the advanced devotee, he can see everything inside and even see the advanced stuff in the beginning stuff, so to say.
Yeah.
Because even Bhagavad Gita it's full of rasa and full of very wonderful informations. But the other thing again, what you say about this point that the Krishna can reveal that, and that this seems to me, because Prabhupada was not teaching a specific sadhana, and even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it doesn't seem to me that he only taught a specific sadhana. He explained kind of everything, because he spoke, okay, there's a specific sadhana with all the dajas and how to meditate, and if it doesn't work out, you ask your guru for another svarup, more or less, which is a form where you meditate yourself into it, the whole Siddha Pranali process. But then at the same time said, but there's another process also. So, and for me it seems more that Prabhupada went away from a technical and technical process of Siddha Pranali to a more, which is possible, a revelationary process, and said, okay, just chant Hare Krishna, serve in the temple, make good sadhana, and Krishna reveals to you. And then you know what's going on, you know what's right for you, don't have to speculate, and you make sure advancement. Because the other, it's very true what you say, I see it also. Siddha Pranali might work, but only with proper guidance. Someone
You
who
need
really
a qualified guru for that.
Exactly, and if you don't have that, you go into a huge speculation. Okay, this week I want to be this manjari, that week I want to be this gopa. How you know, right? It can even change, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur
But still,
says.
there are general verses which are given there, where you can, in general sense, meditate on your svarup.
Okay, yeah, of course, there are more general.
Yeah.
Of course, there are too. But at the same time, as I see it for myself, that the possibility is there, that Krishna shows that, and we don't have to not speculate. Of course, if there's a proper guidance and you work with Shastra and you're advanced enough, but still there is an option. The holy name can reveal everything to you.
Yes, if we chant with this intention, so the intention should be there, the
definitely.
proper understanding should be there.
Ashraya, take shelter.
What is there to be achieved, and for this, if we then chant the holy names in a humble state of mind, then surely the holy name will reveal everything.
As far as I heard, that actually Indra had made that process and was very successful, as he was not shy on speaking about it. So he went into huge surrender, and it seems Krishna revealed to him everything, and he was, so
he was really serving the holy name, and but then who has this eagerness and who has this determination? And just yesterday also I was speaking with another devotee that there is a statement of Indra Prabhu saying, I am chanting 100 rounds more than you. At least 100 rounds more than you. So I assume he was chanting 116 rounds or something like this daily. So
but
somehow
I
other.
I don't think it needs 100 rounds a day to come to that. I think if we chant, absorbed, studied Bhagavatam, all the whole process.
I mean, we should
is
spend
very
our
powerful.
time thinking of Radha Krishna, of Nitya Lila somehow, and what could be our service to them. So then, as many rounds we can manage, that's good. But I think we should then endeavor a little bit more than 16 rounds. There should be very, very, very absorbed. We should be very absorbed. Even chanting 16 rounds can be very, very, very uplifting, and we should feel something after that. We should feel some upliftment after that. But for me, I can say that I find it very inspirational if I read something before my chanting, if I read really about Nitya Lila, whatever it is, some story of Radha and Krishna, of gopis. This I find always very inspirational. This helps me somehow to focus on the goal. And like this, then it's not dry process, but it's like his prashana. It's very joyful. It should be very joyful, and we should be really then feel very eager and calling upon, calling for the Lord through His names. Just really calling that He may show us the way, that He may show us the path, and somehow accept us in His entourage one day. This is Ashabandha, hope against the hope. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that there's these 3 things, or even 4 things, that are really, that will help us on the way. This Ashabandha, great hope that we will attain our goal. That this is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally appeared, one of the reasons, to give us the process. So we should be hopeful that the process is working and it will work for us. Then we should have great determination, and we should live in a sanctified place or in a holy place, and we should have proper association. So these 4 things are basically there. And then how this will be individually, this will be different for every individual, because all these things will differ for everybody of us. So there will be a special masala, blend for in our lives, in each of our individual lives, how it will be. But definitely we need a proper guidance for all of this. And this we can get by studying Srila Prabhupada's books in depth, if we do Bhakti Shastra study, and we are lucky that we have some experienced teacher who can guide us a little more and show us something more and what is there beyond that, and like this. I think Sri Gauranga Prabhu wanted also.
I mean, it's just some reflections regarding Srila Prabhupada's books. As far as I understand, I mean, this is how I perceive those books. They're mainly written for us. Of course, also for the general public. But I also think that these books are for the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttama Adhikari. And I'm personally convinced that everything is in Srila Prabhupada's books. And I also believe that if you don't have the eagerness and intensity to approach the holy name in such a way that the holy name would reveal whatever needs to be revealed to you, then what's the question of doing any other kind of sadhana? That's
sadhana
yes,
beyond the chanting.
exactly.
I'm just saying that what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very clearly stating, that for serious sadhakas who want to achieve this Unato Jvala Rasa, then a specific meditation will be needed also. Okay, so this is coming on the stage. First, there's this stage, what Prabhuji also mentioned, there is the stage of Shramana Dasha, hearing. So we are all at this stage. Then Varana Dasha, then you really accept what you heard, and you start to practice what you heard. And then you can come to the stage of Smarana Dasha, when you can really remember, while chanting, you can really remember the pastimes. And they are meaningful to your practice, to your sadhana. And there are two higher stages which are not now relevant for us. But basically, so we should ask ourselves how we can come to this stage of Smarana Dasha, because then the real intense practice starts. And this will help us to become really absorbed, to become really fixed in our devotional service, in our sadhana.
This reminds me of one pastime where one person went to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he was kind of asking him for, how could he, asking him for his Swarup to be revealed. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I have a wonderful sadhana for you. He told him, this mantra you should practice every day. And he said, Trinada Pisu Nishinata Oivasahishnana Amani Namada Dena Kirtanaya Sadahari. So, it just seems to me that what Prabhupada gave us was really this process by just sincerely chanting the holy name and really taking shelter in the holy name, and by not offending devotees, that the holy name, through chanting on Namabhas, on the stage of Nishta, will reveal everything to us. Not so much, of course, maybe these statements are definitely there. I'm not doubting that at all. Just seems like that Srila Prabhupada really emphasized this path of taking shelter in the holy name and then the holy name revealing rather than... Because I've really seen devotees really getting a bit off track, because then how do you know who's qualified to tell you what your Svarup is, what your sadhana should be, all of these different things. And I feel Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's disciple really stressed this particular way of the holy name revealing to us, rather us. Because like Ananda Krishna Prabhu said, it seems a bit, there's quite some risk in there to maybe not be mature enough.
Yeah,
for this.
if you think that way, that means you are not qualified to practice Raganuga Bhakti Sadhana yet. So then, of course, we take shelter in the holy name, and then we really pray, please remove these old doubts, please remove all these fears, because Vaidhi Bhakti Sadhana is practiced, through all this, I should make no mistake, I should make no offense, I should not go too far because I'm not qualified. But this is not the stage of Ashabandha, and then means, yes, then you practice so far, because your lobha has not awakened, and it's not bad. I'm not saying, I'm not judging devotees, but then you practice Vaidhi Bhakti Sadhana very seriously, with the understanding that one day I should come to spontaneous devotional service, because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the author is saying to us, the only way to achieve Krishna in Vrindavan is through Rag Marg. There is no other way. Now, if you practice Vaidhi Bhakti Sadhana, you will go somewhere else. And this should be actually our fear. So this is my fear, that if I don't understand the whole process, I might end somewhere else where I actually don't want to end. Why should I end there or not here, for example? So this should be very, very clear for us. There should be no doubt what is the real process for this. And then through the proper guidance, again, we should not, because now we are speculating, I think, because I am giving you evidence from the Shastras, but then there are so many, No, I'm not feeling attacked. No, but this is usually what it happens, when we start to speak. Then there are so many different opinions coming in. But no. yeah.
I also think it's both in Shastra. I think what Ananda Krishna Prabhu was saying.
What I'm just trying to say that yes, there are different sadhanas, there are different levels, and there are different sadhanas for these levels, and the thinking process is also different. So that's why we should also really try to understand, if we are coming with one opinion, this is coming because I am practicing at a certain level, I have certain understanding, and I am practicing. This is now for me, or this is now for you, okay? But what I'm saying, that is not, we should impose everything upon everybody else. Everybody is the same, and we are all the same, and we are practicing all the same, because our levels of advancement of understanding are not the same. And we should be very clear what is the definition of Vaidhi Bhakti, of regulated devotional service, which we should always practice on the outside, and practice in the public, and practice on the altar in the temple. We should always, on the outside, practice Vaidhi Bhakti, very strictly. Should be no doubt about this. And certain topics we can discuss only with qualified devotees who are on that level. But we should be very clear about sadhya, about the goal, and about the sadhana to achieve that goal. We should not go into all the details. We can't go into all the details, because everybody should be on the same level to have the same understanding. That's clear. But still, what I see, that if you start to explain how things are, then immediately, don't. So that means there is still no eagerness in us for that. But if you are humble, if you are really humble, Trinad Api Sunichena, you will try to submissively hear and say, okay, I am not perhaps on that level, but I understand that this is higher level, and perhaps I should endeavor to achieve that level. So if you are okay with that explanation. This is for me what to be humble means. To accept really, yes, this is Shastra, but we are not on that level to practice that. We are on the other level and have clear definition.
I mean, Prabhu, you are senior in so many ways to me. It's so I'm not saying what you're presenting from Bhaktivinoda Thakur is in any way or form not what is written. It's what I learned from Srila Prabhupada, my spiritual master, how I was brought up in this movement, and how I study Srila Prabhupada's books and the books of Srila Prabhupada's disciple. It seems like there are these different ways to approach this topic, and
yes.
I feel that you're pointing out a way, and then there's this other way where we say the holy name reveals, and this is also mentioned in Harinam Chintamani, Madhurya Kadambini. This is also mentioned there. So I feel there's no conflict, it's just two different ways. And
no conflict, there should be no conflict.
Exactly. So I'm not doubting what you're saying. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Akira Prabhu.
Akira
Prabhu, I just would like to share one memory. I heard from Prabhupada memories.
Just like to add something to Sri Gauranga Prabhu's statement about Srila Prabhupada's books being for the general public. Isn't it that Srila Prabhupada said that in his books he revealed his deepest ecstasies, and that they were written by Krishna himself?
Yes, definitely. I think Ananda Krishna Prabhu also elaborated on this point, that according to our consciousness, so Srila Prabhupada wrote it in such a way that everybody who has some intelligence, some spiritual credit can accept this truth. Yeah. So it is also Gauranga Mahaprabhu came to give prem to everybody, qualified and unqualified, but only somehow not everybody is really accepting this. But also according to what Ananda Krishna Prabhu also tried to explain, according to our consciousness and our level of advancement, we will read into Srila Prabhupada's books in a slightly different way, or we will find how to go more and deep. We will find more depth in things, and we will find more and more jewels in Srila Prabhupada's books. Because this is finally also the books of Acharyas, what we are mostly speaking about, the main books of Srila Prabhupada, like Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Nectar of Devotion. So these are very specific, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, like 10th canto, and Nectar of Devotion. These are very specific books for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and basically you don't need more. Only for certain technical questions you have then to go and see into some other books, but Srila Prabhupada studied all these other books, and he gave us actually the essence of this. So yes, we don't need anything else, but again, according to my level of advancement and according to my consciousness, according to my taste, I will have different focus, and I will put perhaps slightly different focus on the things I read in Srila Prabhupada's books, how I understand his instructions, how I understand what the sadhana should be. And I think that the real sadhana should be real, like individually tailored by Guru. And the main sadhana is chanting of the holy names. But again, with what consciousness you will enter, how much you will do it, what will be your focus while chanting, what will be your meditation. This is very individual, as we can see. Even here, we are just few people. We are all individuals. We have our individual understanding. So
once
we are not individuals.
We are all individuals. Prabhupada's books are the books for everyone.
Yes. Yes. So that we cannot, differ in basic understandings, in basic Siddhanta. Siddhanta is Siddhanta. Siddhanta is there. But everybody has his own samsara, his own life, his own challenges, his own level where he or she is standing in the life, and from there we should try to make next step. So then perhaps we can finish with Bashar Prabhu.
Once one Prabhupada's disciple asked Prabhupada, can I think of Radha Krishna Leela when I'm chanting Hare Krishna? He said yes, but only if it comes naturally. Like if he doesn't force it, trying to remember.
Yes, it's not a mechanical process. So it's not instruction like you must. No, you must chant the holy name. That's the thing. But it's not a mechanical process. It's a process because you understood that, and you somehow developed the taste, or you saw how much taste somebody can have for it. I think that's very attractive if we see that somebody has so much taste for the holy name, and for all the topics about Radha Krishna and their Leela. And through this, then we develop some interest, we develop some taste, and we should not practice it mechanically, in a mechanical way. Thank you very much for lively discussion and for all your nice contributions. So he is hungry or not? He looks very satisfied. Then we can finish here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prad Lakshmi Simhadeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande.